Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of We Empower. I'm thrilled to have you here all with us. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. Let's make today count. In today's episode, we will diving into recapping a few standout moments from the previous week before treating you to a song that hints at the intriguing personality of our special guest for today. Joining us today is Professor Dr. Augustinus Bader, who will be sharing inspirational insights with us. Following that, I will introduce you to a special book. To wrap things up, we will open the floor to especially at least one of your questions. So let's dive into past week, and I've sorted out just one interesting news for you. As 27-year-old just became Queen of New Zealand's Maori. Maori Queen Nagawaihono-i-Tepu was announced by Thursday, a week after the death of her father, who had been king for 18 years. Maori of New Zealand anointed a new monarch on Thursday, officially installing 27-year-old Nagawaihono-i-Tepu as their second ever queen. The ceremony capped off a week of mourning for the previous Maori king, Te Haitia Puatu Te Werehuveru VII, who died at age 69 after undergoing heart surgery just days after celebrating the 18th anniversary of his own coronation. Nagawaihono-i-Tepu, the new queen, happens to be his youngest child and only daughter. But the role of monarch is not hereditary. The successor is determined by tribal representatives from across the nations. Leaders announced on Thursday that they had chosen her, making her the 8th Maori monarch and just the second queen. The first was her grandmother, Te Arikinui Dame Te Atarangangi Kaku, who retired in 1966 until her death in 2006. The new monarch was raised up in a ceremony known as Te Wakahaginga in front of thousands of people gathered for the Tahinganga of Kingi Tuhaita, the tribal leaders said in a statement. A historic Bible was placed on her head, and a prominent archbishop used sacred oils to bestow prestige, sacredness, power, and spiritual ascents upon her. Then the visible, emotional queen took a seat on a wooden throne next to her father's coffin. The coffin was later paddled in a traditional canoe flotilla along the river, the final resting place of the king and other high-profile Maori. The ceremonies took place on the North Island, which is the seat of Maori King movement. The political institution developed in the 1850s when Maori tribes decided to unify under a single sovereign in the face of an influx of British settlers and demand for their land, as well as broader political marginalization. Today, the role of Maori monarch is largely symbolic. As a former British colony and current member of the British Commonwealth, New Zealand's official monarch is King Charles. But the new queen is ascending at a particularly important time. New Zealand's right-leaning coalition government has faced widespread criticism for dismantling initiatives that benefits indigenous people since taking power last year. Among other policy changes, it has curbed the use of this language in government organization, closed the Maori Health Authority, and rolled back anti-smoking laws, which sees higher rate of both smoking and lung cancer. So New Zealand's Prime Minister paid his respects to the king last week, but did not attend the funeral. Nagawaihono had been favored as her father's successor, but her selection was not a foregone conclusion. She became a more recognizable figure in recent years, accompanying the king on official engagements and serving as his official representative on a 2022 visit to London. Although I feel excited about meeting the Prince of Wales, a part of me is still reluctant, she told the media. I have a loud mouth, so I need to be careful. She has since served as a member on numerous boards, including of the National Trust, which is charged with revitalizing the Maori language. What a great song. I think many of you might know it. It is a song from the summer of 2015, and I think most of you are glad to have also summer now. And it strengthened, I think, the summer feeling. A song from Nicky Jam and Enrique Iglesias. And it's great how you can see that these great two singers, so different they are, just increase their power for a great, powerful song, which is also very easygoing, has this lightness and transporting this feeling of enjoying summertime, and gives us, from my point of view, also this feeling which we sometimes need a bit more in these times of polycrisis, where we often stick too much in these bad feelings. So thank you very much to Professor Dr. Augustinus Bader for starting us this great song. Welcome here in this radio show.
No, thank you so much. It's my great honor, my pleasure, and my joy, of course, to join you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My first question goes, of course, to the song, because I know you had also another song which I liked too. We sorted this out because we thought that our listeners can have some pictures. What picture are you, or do you have combined, or what memories maybe which made you sorting out the song?
No, actually, as you realize, I come from Germany originally, so the exposure to cultures, Latin American cultures or Italian cultures, have greatly changed how I see the world. You know, when I was a student, I did study in Italy. I learned Italian language and lived there for some time. It was my first exposure when I was a young student, and later I worked in the US and met a lot of people also from Latin America later. And I had a friend there when I was at Harvard Medical School who said, and he once introduced me to his father. He said, who was proud of his son. He said, having a person, having me as a friend, and himself, he was from Argentina, it's probably a good match. And what you pointed out, and in the song, which I like very much, is the openness to cooperation. Like, why would Nicky Jam and Enrique Iglesias cooperate on this song? That's so atypical for what you see in Western music, mostly, or what we see the European or the British. That's I think it's like there's some it's a nice thing I like about these cooperations. Typical exists in other songs. I like the lifestyle of Latin America, and as you pointed out correctly, it's more relaxed, the romantic, and you saw it has El Perdón. It reads a little bit sad story because someone has lost his lover at the time, and so it maybe but still it shows the joy of life, and I like the music also, like, they're going to the bachata. When I was a student, I learned rock and roll dancing. I was an acrobatic dancer, for some time. So I do like music, and I may tell you later, I almost became a musician, but I learned I don't have real talent for it, so I had to do something else. But I like the feeling of this music, yeah.
I'm sure that many women would say a great choice because they love your products. So if you would have stayed as a rock and roll dancer, I think there would have been sad. It's like that good.
Actually, also about this show is also about empowering women, empowering people. And what I learned when I learned that I didn't have talent enough to become a musician, because I'm the real musician. I thought, what should I do? It will have an impact one day. So I went to medicine and tried to study medicine. And unfortunately, I found something which addresses self-healing mechanism. And it's probably just that time is right to bring in products that allow self-healing, self-repair. It addresses also to the show you're doing. Health topics are so important. So hopefully I can contribute something to individual health, personal health. And this has more relevance than just...
I have two questions which arose while you were talking. First is, you said, I mean, you tried to be a musician, and I know and remember during my medical studies, it was a lot learning. It was a lot learning of words, and I hated that. And I thought, hey, I would like to help people. Now I have to study words, and it is so theoretical. Was it a help for you to have this playful or a gameful attitude from a musician combined with a discipline?
I think that as you correctly said, the playful time and to have a time to relax, to do other things is, I think, a key to human life, at least how we can plan life. So if you give up everything and only work hard, and I used to be a workaholic, actually, I was an extremely hard worker at the university and also later, like, in medical professions, you have to go on night shifts, work all the time. So if you have a lot of responsibility, this is quite important. So finding some relaxation in these things, also giving your mind a little bit of time to relax, or your soul, if you want to say it like this, then it's quite important, I think. Yeah.
I think so too. And is it more music listening or making music or dancing? What relaxes you in the kind of music?
No, no. And in the early days, I grew up in a monastery school, and as I know you mentioned before, your son also has a beautiful schooling
That's
environment where
right.
people have access to learning musical instruments and doing sports and
Yeah.
living in nature. And these three topics, will influence your son a lot. At this time, many, many years ago, it was in the 80s, is when I went finally to university. And before this, I left school in 1979. So in these times, the timing, of course, was different than our situation. But the monastery school was a Benedictine monastery in the countryside. And as a boy, I was exposed only to music, sports, and learning at school. So for me, and also not having parents there, because I was a little bit bored all the time. I didn't know what to do in school, so I started to play music every day, 6 to 8 hours. I played
Wow.
French on. Yeah, I played French on. So I spent most of my time practicing music, since school was so boring for me, and I didn't I didn't like it. So. But then I learned that I became quite good at it, and technically speaking, but a real musician is different. Is more playful, even has more memory, more intellectual, can memorize everything I learned. So there are people better than me. I think whatever I do, I'm not the best. I will give it up. I couldn't be the best because my brother also was studying music. I learned, on the international scale playing things. They're super talents, and that's the critical things about music. If you want to
Yeah.
be really, really on the top, you have to be extremely good, because and I felt so this my decision was, it's probably not made for me. I should do something else.
And are you still playing or have you stopped?
Unfortunately, not so much anymore. But when I was in university, I started rock and roll dancing a little bit, but it was just a little bit. But I do like music, and unfortunately got out of it a little bit because I became a workaholic in medicine. So I used to work from morning to evening, which is atypical for many students, but medicine is very demanding.
Yeah.
And I also yeah, I was very, very motivated to learn what's going on. So I did have a life where I started to work in the morning as a student at typically maybe 7, 8 until midnight almost every day. And,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
that's how I spent my medicals, and later kept on working like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at your career, I think you found the right rhythm, or you took the right rhythm from rock and roll to put it into not only the right product, but also the right lifespan. And before we go into the first break, I don't want to miss out to tell you all who is Professor Dr. Augustinus Bader, besides the school experiences and so on, that you can be really looking forward to the second part. So he is a globally recognized physician and scientist in the field of biomedicine, and one of the leading experts in stem cell biology and regenerative medicine. Throughout a career that spans the globe, the German-born professor had spent over 30 years researching technologies to reactivate and harness the human body's ability to heal and awaken cells that have become dormant due to aging or trauma. In 2008, he developed an innovative wound heal that heals severe skin injuries without the need to skin grafts. This revolutionary method inspired him to skincare. Professor Bader is currently director of the Institute of Cell Techniques and Applied Stem Cell Biology at the University of Leipzig, Germany, where he also resides with his family. So I think this gives you some further ideas on what I will ask Professor Dr. Augustinus Bader. We will continue now our talk with Professor Dr. Augustinus Bader, and we heard already some super interesting insights, but I'm sure that you're all also very much interested to get some great health tips. We will do this in the end, so you have to wait. No, joking. I mean, I told before the break about your science and research that the first revolutionary product you developed was a wound gel, right? Which are revolutionary because it is putting together the wounded parts in a way that it heals much better, and that it frees the parts from the traumata, right?
Now the wound gel at the time was an attempt to use signals only to heal massive wounds. And you can imagine that in the field of stem cell biology, people have worked for decades on trying to grow cells outside of the human body, transplant them. But one day I thought, why would children not be able to heal without scar formation? So if a child, even presumably just 2 or 3 years old, having more progenitor cells, stem cells being the cells that can repair the body, why would a child that would have, in scientific thinking, an accepted higher number of stem cells than an adult or older human being, why would such children suffer from non-functional healing? A scar, as you may have seen, is a result of a massive burn, which is non-functional and causes a lot of problems, like it blocks the growth of the skin, and it's just not perfect. So I thought, why would we not be able to utilize innate progenitor or stem cells in these children? And I found basically an explanation. So imagine I would have a small cut on my left hand, and it is just a micrometer distance from one skin side to another one. It will heal perfectly. There's a little bit bleeding inside, and it heals perfectly, independent how young or old we are. So why would a child that would, if I would burn myself, or if a child would burn his hand on a hot blade, we get scar formation. And the reason is, when you have a small cut, you have the proximity of two edges of skin, and they start to talk to each other, and seems to have all the information locally available to make it heal perfectly, recruiting local progenitor cells to fix the problem. But once the wound reaches a critical size, which may be just a few millimeters already, scar formation is initiated. So I thought it cannot be a lack of stem cells, it must be a lack of something else. So I thought it's the lack of the signals that the cells would have made if they would have been alive, because they're all dead by the trauma, or the vascular access to the wound site has been blocked due to the heat. The thermal heat has damaged the vascular access, like it would be on a traffic road, and there are so many cars, everything's blocked, you cannot go ahead. So whatever the body of a child would try to recruit and bring to the site of injury would not be able to arrive. So I thought I should look into signals that may be missing, that cannot arrive or cannot be made anymore. And I found a few of them, put it in a water-based gel, which has cellulose with water, a few signals, and suddenly these wounds started to heal with no scar formation.
Wow.
And this, of course, was anecdotal, not real evidence, and I cannot claim that this is something proven at that time, but it was at least striking, and it helped in what was a compassionate use case. The first one was a daughter of a friend of mine. She was 2.5 years old, standing in boiling water on her children's birthday party. So, and then she was flown by helicopter to the Munich hospital, and 3 days later, Dr. Machens, the surgeon at the time, and the team applied this wound gel. I'm just a developer now at this, so I didn't treat it myself, but the outcome was that the child had no scar formation and just walked home and not needing surgery. And we followed up the child more than 10 years. The child became now 18, followed up again, everything's fine.
Wow.
So I thought, why would, and
unbelievable, great.
Yeah, so, but unfortunately, being in a university, in academic environment, universities don't have the financial resources and funds to, and maybe not even the scope to develop a commercial product. So I started to write to 100 pharmaceutical companies if they would like to use this technology to make our treatment for burn children. But it was not successful. Nobody was interested. Nobody wanted to have it and said, oh, maybe they didn't believe me. That's too good to be true. That's all too crazy. It is impossible. So I heard the stories about, and I got a little bit frustrated actually up to the year 2009. And then I almost thought maybe, no, I can continue to work at university, do a little bit basic research. And then I met Charles Rosé, who was an investment banker at the time. He said, oh, if at least if I could do a cream which would take wrinkles away, maybe one day it might be successful. If nobody wants to have this product to help burn children, a cream which may take wrinkles away, maybe there's someone who would be interested. And so, it took me 2 years to change this
recipe
concept to something can be a consumer product, is stable at room temperature, and it's good for your skin. So unfortunately, and this is the USP, the technology inside is a mechanism which induces self-repair, or it supports your own self-repair. So you heal yourself. So when you have sun damage, or we get older as we age, we have a situation where our skin changes. So I thought, genetically speaking, we are the same. So why would a child that cannot heal burn just by replacing signals heal itself? Would we not be able to do this in someone who's already 60, 70, 80, 90 years old? And actually, this seems the case. It seems the first patient I treated was my father at the time, was 92 years old. He had a pressure sore, and nurses came to his house. I went there once when I was still working as a doctor, and put on the wound gel, and suddenly the pressure sore healed in just a few days, which is also amazing. But still, nobody believed me. So it continued apart from a few anecdotal cases. Then this product here came about to make something available to everyone as a consumer product.
It is great that you've done that way and found this channel. On the other side, of course, if I hear the story, it reminds me of another startup where in Stanford, over 15 years, they worked on a cancer product. And with this product, they say they can heal 85% of all cancer types. Nobody has been interested over the last 2 years in this product to finance it. And then one person tried it, and in his face, a Chinese guy, unfortunately, he had to drink it, but he put it on his face, and it has an effect on the wrinkles. So they said, oh my God, we will invest if you change it to a wrinkle, to wrinkle tonic. And the scientist was completely frustrated because she said, I've worked 15 years plus on this product to change the world for the better, to help all people against cancer. And you are taking it. It is so expensive. Put it on your face. No, I'm not doing this. But I think your argument that we should do something at least, and if this is not the way, then we'll find another way with a bit lower concentration, and made even one step forward. I think this is good.
Actually, has two advantages. If you go to a product that everyone can use, you convince people. And we did, of course, clinical trials, and the outcome is amazing. So it really helps your skin to be healthy. It's just a health supporting toolbox. That's all. So healthy skin is automatically beautiful. And the second, this was the idea originally. So one day maybe we will be successful. Why not use the possibilities, the funds to develop the medicine side? So I do hope to go back to the old side. And if so, the medical side and the consumer side has nothing in common except water, and the concept is the same, how it works. And but the goal maybe one day to use this increased acceptedness, and it is on the market, and many people have used it, and we get a lot of reports from people who fell down, scratched themselves, or have rosacea, they put it on, it goes away.
Right.
So there's so use the funds, and I will try to give back what I can, at least, to develop the medical side still, and it will come. I'm really hopeful that it will come one day to with more funds. Develop a medicinal product today costs you hundreds of millions of euros, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right. So if I buy a product, and I have bought a product from you, then I could use it not just for putting it in my face, but also healing scratches.
Yeah, if you have old scars, also actually they will remodel, because your skin is not made of stone, and the human body is not made of stone. It will remodel every time. So tomorrow we are different human being a little bit. For the skin, it takes about 4 weeks. And then, so when you put on the cream, the scar will remodel. If you have a scratch or superficial, it will protect the superficial layers and will induce a faster healing response in your, it's self-healing. It's a little bit like a toolbox. Like, imagine you live in a house and the electricity will shut down. You will call an engineer to come and fix it. And if this person brings the toolbox, the person can
Yeah,
fix it. So it's the toolbox for your stem cells in your skin. And the theory
right.
why we
Yeah.
ate this is
Mm-hmm.
we may have a genetic code which shuts down the access to our own repair mechanisms, because we have a limited lifespan. So I thought, why not replace the signals at any moment of your life, independent of our chronological age? We can start a repair process just like we would be super young, because we all have the stem cells. But the two Rubicons in medicine, nobody can fix scar formation. It's impossible. Nobody can do this. Nobody can fix aging. But you
Yeah.
can do it with your stem cells in a way by overcoming. One would be a mechanical blockage, which is trauma, and the other one, overcoming our own genetic conflict, because we have to die, but we have the capacity to react to sickness, because our stem cells have a blueprint in their own code how to fix our skin, bone, liver, and cartilage. So just give them this information. That's the idea behind it, and they will do it. And you have to activate them. So when you go to the sun having the skincare, it's the
Yeah.
perfect after sun or the pre-sun, actually, because it will induce a repair, not by blocking like an SPF, but by helping fix your skin at the moment there's damage. So and that's the USP. It's trauma damage related repair. And everyone has different reasons. We have stress,
Yeah.
pollution, environmental situation, or even stress
Mm.
inside that has an impact on our health. So it will, of course, only help the biological science. But, and this brings me, as you mentioned before, Dr. Chopra,
Yeah.
also before we discussed, and the
Mm.
idea about linking consciousness and biology is quite important. So imagine, I mean, I was in a retreat with Dr. Chopra, and there was a lady, she got in a goodie bag a cream, and she said, "I'm so happy." She didn't see why she's so happy, but later we found out because her skin became so beautiful. So there's a link between what we conceive about us, it's
Yeah.
our psychological situation, and our health status.
Yeah.
It's exchangeable.
It's interesting that you were describing this, because I think people nowadays often lost the connection of their mindset with the intuition, and think that they just have to buy something, just have to let others do something, and want it convenient without the work of the inner self. Do you have some ideas how the people could get this back, to get a better connection to themselves for better self-healing?
I think that's quite easy and important to do. So you have to just uh, accept that your brain, your thinking controls your body. And that's very important. And there's a biological explanation, because our brain cells make signals. I only use the word of the signals that induce healing, self-repair, but it's all about communication. Just like we speak to each other now, we
Yeah.
exchange information and we learn something, we do something together. That's the piece of art also for musicians. Someone makes music, other musicians join, and that's the outcome. And the body works the same way. It's a permanent communication to reach equilibrium. So once you're in a balance, but once you have stress, when people have stress, they start to think this, they cannot sleep, and then this creates it. So it's biological signals at the end, and it's mutual it's vice, so it's exchangeable on two sides. So what Dr. Chopra is doing, mindfulness, consciousness, or about what everyone can do, thinking in a positive manner about yourself, you will heal yourself, I'm sure. It's just people have stress, they cannot do this, so they have to find a way to get out of this. So
Yeah.
and positive thinking, and that's maybe it goes back to the song initially, as it portrays a positive feeling immediately when you, even though the story may be sad, but it's nice. So, and this is what we should do. We should do in everyday life. People who have a positive attitude to accept their the best, that do well what they do in their job, that try their best, they will succeed. Now, that's empowerment. It's the old brain. And you have to tell yourself you succeed and you will succeed. If you tell yourself the opposite, you will not succeed. So that's so the empowerment has a biological reason. And the biological reason is our brain cells communicate signals to our body. And we only do what our brain tells us, which also is important. I have seen this in people going to retirement, actually, who have had an active life, have responsibility in their job, and always a continuous challenge. Once these people are not challenged anymore and think, I just watch TV, go to the garden, whatever, the brain stops to communicate signals. And so that's the good challenge that we have in life to maintain our equilibrium. We need to do this. So maintaining health is related to communication processes, and the cells in our body that do the repair, the stem cells. And I have been working only on those, of course, but I realize it is part of a bigger picture. You can imagine a little bit like a big puzzle, like the beautiful picture in your office behind you from an artist here, or imagine you have a beautiful picture in front of you, would cut it in 1,000 pieces, but you remember how to reassemble it. So your stem cells are able to reassemble your organ structures because they know how to fix it. We just need to give them the tools to do this. And they can do this at any moment of your life.
Yeah, that's great that you mentioned this, because often people say, oh, I'm too old for this. Oh, I think I passed this chance. But as you described, it is every time is the right time. Every time is the right moment. And even if you haven't taken the chance in the past, if you would like to take the chance now, take it, right?
That's actually true also from the biology part. Imagine our body is replaced completely in 1 year. Wow. 99%. So whatever situation we have today, if you work on it, bring in the right communication, the right challenges, the right biology, and it's all about we will be a different human being. Of course, we have this conflict. Our lifespan is not limited. I mean, our lifespan is limited. Our health may be going down, but maybe we can be more healthy a longer time if we know how to use these powers that we have about healing us. And it seems to have the component of consciousness, the biological part, and you what you call the instinct, your soul, how this comes together, your identity. And if these are in harmony and you really want it, then you have a potential of leading or having a healthy and good life.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much. I have still plenty of questions, and I'm so sorry that I can't ask them now. So we need to find a way on how to communicate this later on. And I'm happy to hear more from you later on and stay in contact. Thank you very much to be here in our radio show. It was a pleasure to having you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being with you. Thank you. And thank you for the good job you do. Thank you so much, Annette.